today. Part of the lateness is staying up late. We had a lot of weird noises last night. I'm not sure if it was the trailer settling. I'm not sure what it was. And I got to stay up and have some personal time, kind of give myself a little bit of a reprieve for yesterday. So um, I sat back and I got some stuff done. If you are over on the Sovereign Operator, you'll be getting your morning update today. I didn't do it yesterday just because everything that was going on. I needed to. I needed to kind of like let myself take a moment to breathe and stuff like that. What's up, Matthew? Nice to see you, buddy. So, and just so you know, you guys can thank Matthew the King. He gifted 5 memberships yesterday. I know a cult got one, Matthew got one, I think Joanna got one, um, and there's Platypus even got one. So, I've been wondering if Platypus was hanging out in the background. Apparently, he is. That's cool, Platypus. I'm okay with it. We don't hate you. We still love you. You just had that one moment where you wanted to be a dick, and while I put you in your place, you're still family. So feel free to chat, Platypus. Because funny thing is, when I talk to other people behind the scenes, like, yeah, I ain't seen Platypus forever. It's like, yeah, I know. You got mad, and he'll be back though. But it is what it is. Sam, go get up there. Come on. But anyways, there's not going to be a lot going on today. By the way, this is probably not going to be a very long live stream unless you guys got a lot of questions or got a lot of interactions. I'm still waking up. I just woke up like not even 30 minutes ago. I had my cup of coffee, tried to put down a bowl of cereal, and I ate about half of it and gave Sam the other half of it. If you want one of these mugs, I'm going to be looking to put it on TeePublic today. Good morning, Beth. I'm typing something. It's in my email address. Idea for a channel to mull over. Okay. I look forward to reading it, Beth. It's much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, the you guys giving me feedback, telling me what you like, what you don't like. You represent a certain segment of the audience, whether you realize it or not. Just like when politicians. Okay, so when you go in and you complain to a politician, to them you represent 1,000 voters at least, and that 1,000 votes could be the difference between them getting elected and not getting elected. And so when you come in there and you talk to them, they actually understand that you represent a certain demographic. And so even though you're one person, there's many people behind you that think the same way that you do. Just like if somebody were to go up and go, I'm a prepper, well, they already know that a certain segment of their population are preppers. So now they need to listen to you because in a lot of ways you're speaking what others refuse to speak. And so that's how you get a politician to listen to you. Is that you get them to understand that you get them to understand that you represent something. So I want to attach a screenshot, and Gmail says I need a Google update, or I would have to wait, a screenshot. Gmail says you need Google update. Are you using a Chromebook? Because if it tells you need a Google update, it sounds like you might have something else wrong. To be able to attach an email doesn't require an update, especially if you're using Gmail. I have a Chromebook. I'm supposed to update it, but it ain't doing anything with me like that. I don't know. Are you uploading it to your Google Drive? Because if you upload it to your Google Drive, the screenshot, and then what you do is you go into manage permissions, and then you just change it to anyone with a link. You'll click on it. It'll give you a drop down, and then you can just sit there and share it. Because that's what I did with you and my Google Drive. Like when I sent you the link, it was to my Google Drive. You had access to that link, and therefore I didn't have to download all those pictures and upload them and all that other stuff. I'm in Chrome. I'll change that and see. Yes, but no, we're talking about your operating system, because everything else is if it's your operating system telling you need an update, I haven't heard of that. I think there might be something else going on. But my overall thoughts are, this is how I do it, especially when I want to send a large amount of files, because what I send you, Beth, like 100 pictures. For me to upload each one of those individually and either email them or upload them to a website. I only got like so much space on my website. So being able to put a link can serve space, but allows me to be able to have stuff. But then, and Google Drive is like, if you want 100 gigabytes of space, it's like $2 a month. Uh, oh, Rock Candy Mountain. Yes, I love Rock Candy Mountain. If it, oh man, I wish when I switched phones, I lost all of my music that I had um for Slack. Slack, he plays the banjo, and he was the one because he wants to avoid copyrights. He goes and finds 100-year-old songs and he just starts seeing them on the street corner with his banjo, especially if like he's in a dense city, and yeah, Hard Rock Candy Mountain is good. There's another one that he does. I haven't been able to find the song. Um, but it's a really good song. So he sings songs from like the 1930s and stuff like that. If he has a channel, but I don't think he really uploads it a lot. But he does trains because he's a train hopper. Him and Fishbone were the ones that taught me how to hop train. My attention distracted me as I typed. Oh, you're all good. Good thing this is in replay. So, but yeah, yesterday's live stream. Last night when I was going to bed, I'm like, because I asked some friends, I'm like, did yesterday help me or hurt me? Did I just like completely fuck myself by having a meltdown, or is this something that is that? And the way it's like, dude, it's a one-off. If you're not doing it every day, it doesn't matter. But if you're doing it every single day, everybody feels like they're that they're helpless in a situation that they can't help with. And I'm like, do you have access to music for free? I have the copyright free music that is in that I can use through YouTube Studio. I also have AI music that I can use either through Suni or CapCut has it built in. That's and that's pretty much the only good thing that CapCut has. But I can go to Suni and do it for free. So I have access to either AI music or the free music that you can get off of YouTube, and yeah, including sound effects and stuff like that. Genuine content. I thought yesterday's stream was good. I'm glad you liked it. Me, usually what happens when I go through because it's not the first meltdown I've had. Um, usually I get it's what happens when I get really exhausted and I get really stressed out. And usually right after I have the meltdown, it's like I feel better because like as of yesterday, just getting that out of my system and finally voicing it to where it felt like somebody actually heard my complaints instead of telling me, "Oh, it's your fault. You need to figure it out." It's like, dude, I'm not looking to be blamed. I'm looking to figure out how to solve this. And your meltdown doesn't don't overthink of it. Dude, just made me know that you are human. Best to not hide that, in my opinion. Yes, but I was raised old school. Men do not show their emotions in public. If you want to cry, you go in your bedroom and you do it privately. If the only emotions you're allowed to show publicly is happiness and anger. And so for me, the way I was raised and the way that I think up here, the way that Gen X men were raised is uh, there's no place for emotions. You're a man. Get over it. And so therefore I still play into that. Like I was raised, I wasn't supposed to show that stuff in public because you're a man and you're supposed to be a rock and you're supposed to give everybody confidence. The second you start shaking, the rest of everybody else starts shaking because you're supposed to be the solid rock. So about your setup, I'm really only half kidding about replicating what you have. You know what, Matthew? You can replicate what I have all you want. I encourage it. Don't think it's a bad thing. If you want to do my setup, because that means you're going to be going through my affiliate links and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm gonna get something out of it. And not only, I mean, forget about the financial part. So the fact that somebody sees something that I'm doing and they want to replicate it, that makes me feel good. That means that I'm doing something good enough that other people want to follow it. But you know what, Matthew? Ask whatever questions you want. The morning live stream is definitely for something like this. The evening live stream, we're going to keep it on news and stuff like that. But, oh, it's my buddy's birthday. my best friend from high school. Happy birthday, Eric, if you're watching. I don't think he is, but happy birthday. But yeah, Matthew, ask any questions you want. What's up, Cherokee? Bowl of hash and a Coke. I drank a 2 liter of Coke yesterday, and yeah, somebody gave me a roach. So yeah, before yesterday, I haven't even had my morning wake and bake this morning. That's like, I don't have my morning wake and bake until I've been up for at least an hour, so that like I'm like, because right now I'm like, I'm kind of just Sam's on the bed already asleep. She was up all night with these noises and stuff. So, but okay, okay. So I hear you. We know better on that. Hey Matthew. Okay. All right. Well, so when I talk to AI, it says, well, you can capitalize on this and pick some. You can kind of do a rally call. So take that video you did and compound it. And I'm hoping that this will be what grows not only my memberships and stuff like that. For those of you that are over here on the 299 side, um, guard dog my ass. Yeah, right. Dude, she'll run up and lick it. She thinks it's a friend. Yeah, even when the cows come up. So, um, what if you need to get to town? Do you have neighbors? Yes, I have neighbors, but I walk. I like walking. Um, rally, yeah, rally call for the rebels. Yes, because here's the reality. I thought we had a lot more time than we do. Every 6 months, artificial intelligence is doubling. So that means what it's doing today, its capacity and its ability to do by Christmas, it'll have already doubled and already working on its next doubling. And each time, so you 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, you see how it's compounding. That is kind of how fast AI is moving. And the thing is when AI starts to move too fast, you'll see a ripple effect within the developers that are working on the project. They'll start doing exits because they're like, I see the writing on the wall. No, this is too far. And it'll be funny when everybody decides to walk away. But there's always somebody willing to take $1, and now AI can do its own coding, and they're teaching itself how to teach itself. So if a programmer quits, don't matter. AI will fix its own damn problem. So therefore, we're fucked. Okay, and those okay, I'm listening. Okay, Matthew's questions need to be answered. Yes. I have so many questions. Yes, but are there any opportunities for work nearby? Can you get a pizza delivered? No, you cannot get a pizza delivered. If you want a pizza, you're going to have to go to the next town over. This is what most people don't realize when you come into an off-grid situation. The jobs that are there, they're taken by the established locals that have been there for a while, and they ain't getting rid of that damn job. Okay, so I'll buy you a pre-roll when you get to 420 store. Actually, Cherokee, um, I can't get to a 420 store. My guy that delivers to me, well, it doesn't deliver to me. I can go over to his house, whatever. But anyways, the guy that I go through, he charges me $50 for an ounce, and I got to have $50 cash. So essentially, I got to go into town, and I can only take $30 out of one store, and I can take like $10 or $20 out of another store. I got to go into town a couple of days just to be able to get the cash. And so like that $50 turns into like $60 or $70, because I'll just go in like buy a pouch of tobacco because you're only allowed $30 per day. They're very limited on the amount of cash just because of how rural we are. Okay, but yeah, Cherokee, if you want to do something like that, I will probably won't make it into town for months to get a pre-roll. And quite frankly, $50 for an O versus $8 for a gram, which one's going to be more cost effective. So that's kind of the way that I do it. So when I have the ability to, I will go ahead and get some more of that. But like I said, I got to do $50 in cash. I can't do Cash App or anything else like that to them. Otherwise, it'd be a little bit cheaper. But quite frankly, you can't get an ounce for less than $200 anywhere else. And at these dispensaries, you're not getting them for less than $300. So the fact that I'm getting it for $50 is a freaking steal. It's because I know a guy, and there is a large, well, I wouldn't say large, but there is a big community of growers and stoners and stuff like that out here. So if you're a stoner like me, this is one of the hidden gems that I found about this area, is that I walk by 3 farms every day. Whenever I go into town, I walk by 3 farms. Sometimes they kick me down, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I got money and but it's a stoner community, so we all take care of each other. And um, it is what it is. Truth, that guy saves you tons of money. If yes, it is, Matthew. Well, I'm on the left coast. It's all legal here. Arizona, California, Oregon, Washington, New Mexico, Colorado. The only ones that aren't is like Idaho, because they're like overgrown with Mormons. One thing I've been told about this area, though, depends upon how you feel about Mormons. I used to be one, so don't bother me. But the Mormon church is very, very big here. For those of you that don't know, Las Vegas was originally a Mormon colony, and it wasn't until the 50s when the mafia came in, took over, and brought in the casinos, um, that the Mormons lost control. But Las Vegas used to be a Mormon town. What's up, Tommy? So, um, but yeah, it is definitely illegal. But providing cash is still king at 420 store. Um, uh, well, a lot of them, it's not even that, it's the fees. Now, what they do is they charge you as an ATM transaction. So if you're not, so if your bank charges you for not using their ATM fees, you get an ATM fee plus you get taxed. Um, and what they do is they run it as an ATM. So let's say your bill's like $52. They're going to run it for 60, give you the change, plus you get the ATM fees and all that other stuff, because that's the way that they're running it. Even with the feds legalizing it, and making it something that's normal, they stopped, or that you still can't get crap done. Even when that was my biggest problem in Maryland, is like that's why I stopped buying it there. I In a lot of instances, with the way that they have the tax system set up, I don't mind paying the taxes, but the taxes are way too much. I mean, in Oregon, when it first became legal, it was 25% was the tax. Nobody had a problem with that. What we had the problem with was the counties that didn't like it, so therefore they added another 10% tax on that. And so that was their way of deterring. But the way that they're doing it now is not only they're like Maryland is charging you 6%, which is their sales tax, or 8%, whatever their sales tax is. They're not charging you an extra tax like what Oregon and some of the other states do. So it's a big difference. But yeah, you got after years of days being completely depleted by last bell of the day. Overall, I'm just curious as to what the overall initial upfront investment was to get your ball rolling. Cost me $500. I paid for a month. I paid for my dock fee. If she's running a special, you might get a little bit of a deal. She runs specials pretty regularly, but honestly, the way that land is going here right now, I wouldn't wait for a special, because but if you tell her, here's the thing. The great thing, Matthew, is just let her know your situation. Like, well, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. I was in an accident. I set myself up with this. This is what my budget is. This is what I can do. What can you do to work with me? She'll work with you. Especially if you tell her I sent you, because she's very involved in this community. And so, that would be something that would work in your favor. Now, do I guarantee anything? No, I do not guarantee anything. But right now, because of LA being razed to the ground, there's a giant land grab going out here. Wherever people can find cheap land that's close to that's close to LA, and it's like about a 6-hour drive to LA. And if you only got to go in the office once a month, or what's going to end up happening is those businesses are going to spread out along the landscape. And so, you'll probably see this whole area between like here and LA just completely blow up over the next 5 to 10 years. They're moving a chemical plant here, which is going to be bringing a lot of jobs, at least a couple hundred, for the chemical plant. And this was announced before Trump even got elected. They said that it was going to be sometime this year that they were going to have the plant done. It takes about, I think, about 9 to 18 months, depending upon the building, to get it built from the ground up, if you're buying it and doing everything from the ground up. I know this because being in janitorial and doing a lot of post-construction cleanings, I asked them how long it took to build a 40,000 square foot building. It takes about 6 to 9 months for them to do it, but they actually have to have double crews working around the clock, and they're actually doing it to come in a few months early. But yeah, you just got to be careful. And if you're going to hire somebody to do some building, look at their inspection record. I won't tell you much, but look at their inspection record for stuff like that. Because one of the things that I saw, I was in Houston, because one of these GCs, they really liked our work so much that whenever they did a new building around the state, I get called in and we go do like a week, out of town. Hey, gotta go do this urban air and stuff like that. Because they were like the #2 urban air builder, but they were out of Florida. They were doing a lot of work in Texas. And if I went to Florida or Texas, if I called them up, I'd say I want a lot of stuff. Actually, no, no, they had, oh my god, the customer that the last customer we worked with them, I essentially, after that, I'm like, I don't ever want to work with you guys again if you guys are going to put me in this situation, because these people were unrealistic. They wanted something for nothing. They wanted it all nice and right, and they didn't want to have to put any effort into it. And they would rather destroy your reputation than take responsibility for their dereliction of duty. Really. And that's the one thing about having a business that you got to worry about is everybody else likes to blame you for their problems. Okay, right. But if my kind was paid off, when am I allowed to build? Can it be a tiny home? Okay, so what you're asking for is you're asking about ordinances. Okay, at least the agreement I have with her is that once the property is half paid off, then I can start requesting to make permanent structures once I paid it more than halfway off. Um, and that is her thing. A lot of places won't even let you build until you fully paid it off. Anytime I go to do something, there's been a couple of times where I've mentioned stuff that I'm going to do here, and I get a call and we have a conversation about it, and it's like, yeah, you know what, that was kind of, I was thinking about it, but I ain't going to do it. It was one of those, it just kind of came out, and once I thought about all the work and everything in it, so on and so forth. But as far as the ordinances go, it's that technically, you're only allowed to stay 1 month per quarter on this land if you do not have a septic system. Once you have a septic system, then you're therefore allowed to occupy it, but they don't enforce it. Why do they not enforce it? Because it's important that they grow. Once you start having high demand come in here, then you're going to get pushed off your land, like what's happening a little bit further west in like Mesa Verde and stuff like that. Okay, so when it comes to something like that, you gotta really think about it from a realistic standpoint, because that was the first question I asked. I said, look, can I even stay on the land? Because it's not worth it to me if I can't stay on it, because I'm buying this as a place to go. She's like, yeah. I got plenty of clients to do that, and so on and so forth. And yeah, you operate at your own risk. If the county comes and complains, they're going to complain to her, and then she's going to come to you, and she's going to resolve the situation, because she doesn't need to lose the property, because in technicality, until you pay it off, she still owns it. You're making payments on it, just like a car, just like a house, just like anything else. Okay, so if the county comes down on her, she's going to come down on you, and you're going to have to fix it. And instead of getting mad at her, you should get mad at yourself, because you brought attention, and then you also jeopardize the rest of us. So keep your property clean, keep a low footprint. Don't really try and be out in the open. It will play to your advantage later on as the area grows up, more than it would at this point in time. Because right now, if I wanted to, everybody's pretty open about it. Nobody really cares. But like I said, once it starts getting to a point where there's a high demand, and then therefore they can start forcing the area to fully develop, they're going to start pushing people off their land. You have to have a septic system. If you set up a septic system, the test is $900, and it could cost you anywhere between $15,000 and $50,000 for a septic tank. And a lot of it depends upon the test, because it's so rocky out here. Like, if when I get that test done, if I can't get a septic system in here, there are alternatives that you can work around. That if you want to, you just got to go up there and talk to the county. I haven't made it up there yet. Like with the composting toilet. Okay, that's great for that. Now I got composting. It works. But what about when the water goes from my sink out there? Where do you catch the gray water? What are you doing with the gray water? The gray water is not as much of an issue as dumping chemicals and stuff like that in there. And that's pretty much what they're worried about, is don't damage the ecosystem. But yeah, when you put in a septic system at the post office, you get a free mailbox. Okay. If you don't do a free mailbox, oh shit, next month it's been 6 months for my mailbox. But yeah, if you don't have a septic system, you got to pay for a mailbox. Forward ownership. Yes. Yeah. Quartzite seems to be the spot. Not anymore, Tommy. That's what I was talking about. Mesa Verde, quartzite, stuff like that. Not anymore. They're all getting ran off. If you watch their channels, they've all been ran off. The area developed and it got very popular. The Californians moved in, started developing it. And so now they're kicking all the van lifers out because they're no longer of use. It's just like an employer. We're going to keep you around until you're no longer of use. And when there's somebody else that offers us more money, we're going to kick you to the curb because we're more interested in the money than we are about actually being a community. And so therefore it plays into that. Okay. Full-time glamping. Okay. Ideally, I'd love to find some forested land where I can build a platform and pitch CDD as nav tents on. Well, I think your best bet would be she has property. If you want something like that, I would look at Arkansas and possibly Colorado. I don't know what her properties are in Colorado, but Concha is a desert. It's a desert. So if you want forested trees, look into Arkansas, and look into Colorado. But quite frankly, I like this. I like this area because I like my community. It doesn't matter where you live. If you don't like your community, it's not a good place. If you like your community, it's a great place. Doesn't matter how good or how bad it is. I love my community here. The more I get to know the people around me, the more I find how much I absolutely love it here. And so that's really going to be the difference between success and failure, other than income. But yeah, if you're looking for work, you're not going to find it unless you hustle up your own work or you're part of the digital economy. This is why I'm pushing digital homesteading. This is why I keep telling you guys, as much as you hate it, if you want to homestead the future, you're gonna have to get into a digital income somehow, some way. Well, Matthew, you're at 6,500 feet, so it'll get into the hundreds, but not very often. Think of it like this: it's your weather pattern is equal to that of like was it Springer Mountain for Georgia, like northern Georgia, southern South Carolina, that type of area. That's the latitude I'm at, but I'm at 6,500 feet. So it'll get up into the hundreds like anywhere else in the country, but it doesn't do it for long. And the wind here is a blessing and a curse, because on the one hand, like my neighbors, because we've got a big windstorm coming through today, my neighbors get up before because it calms down at night. So they'll get up before light, like about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and they'll start working on their farm and their other stuff, because nobody really likes to work in the wind. Outhouse, I just got a shit bucket grease. But once I can build permanent structures, a composting toilet is going to be probably the first thing that I do, because I'm not really interested in a septic tank. I want to see if I can find some workarounds. One of my main concerns is I do not want to be connected to the municipalities in any which way. That means water, sewer, garbage, all that stuff. So in order to keep that sovereignty and to keep ownership of my land, because here's the thing, what most people don't realize: you have one of these properties, right? It's yours. It belongs to you. Nobody can take it from you. The second you bring in any public service utilities, it's called communal property. They now have the right to tell you what to do, what you can't do, or anything else like that on your land. So if you want to keep your sovereignty of your land and stuff like that, do not connect it to city services. Yes, Greece. Okay. So wind blowing hard there, is this typical or extraordinary conditions of spring? It's typical. Yeah, I realize I'm on the front side of the mountain, so all that wind that's coming from the coast off of LA, like all those winds that they get, it comes right directly to me. So as the wind's coming there, it's trying to go over, because I'm in the Rockies. I'm at 6,500 square feet, or 6,500 feet. So I'm 2/3 up the mountain. And so therefore, as the wind's coming from the coast to go towards you guys, that's why I keep telling you guys what your weather system is because what hits me hits you 3 or 4 days later. because basically that weather system has to come off the coast, go over the mountains, and then make it here because you got the continental divide. Well, that all that wind and stuff like that from the elevation going up plus the clouds creates a wind funnel. So that's these clouds move very fast through here. Wind is very common. It is a little bit of annoying, but even in San Francisco, I had lots of wind. That was one thing I hated about San Francisco was I hated the wind. But if you're going to be near the coast, especially the West Coast, you're going to see a lot of wind. Even when I walked up the East Coast, like I was walking the beach line, lots of wind. And that wind makes it inland, and depending upon the terrain is whether the wind speeds up or slows down. So let's see here. Have you seen a sunken greenhouse? No, not yet. Although there was a guy that tried to do those those earth homes or whatever down here. He spent like a whole year, digging it out and everything else like that. And then the monsoons came in July and August and completely washed it out. So if you're going to buy land here, one thing that you need to be very, very thoughtful of is the monsoons. And if you're in an area that's going to flood, so if you're in the bottom of a valley or something like that, me being on the side of a hill and the slope that I'm at actually protects me, whether it's like, oh, I want flat land or not. No, honestly, having the full on flat land allows the water to settle, and you may have like a half an inch, and everything else will sink down. Okay, so this is that's something you need to be thoughtful about. Yeah, some places grew banana trees in pit of soil. You are the pre-forecaster I depend on. Well, Ryan Hall knows a lot, but like I'm experiencing it. Like when the snow hit, I kept telling Joanna, she's like, it's 75 here. I said, yeah, that's not gonna last longer than a week. And a couple days later, she's, it's snowing here. I'm like, yeah, I told you it was coming. It was snowed here like a week ago. So yeah, it takes a few days for it to get across the country, but I already told you what was coming. Because that's the cool thing. The weather moves from west to east, the sun moves from east to west. So I get an idea of what the weather's like, and you get the idea of what the temperature's like. Have you seen? Okay. Land is very inexpensive in around Quartzsite. I have not heard that. I have. That was why Farm Girl moved over here, because she said that land was no longer affordable over there. That was why she chose Concho instead of going to Quartzsite, which is where she wanted to go. She's got a lot of friends that are in Quartzsite right now. So okay. So would be love seeing a sunken greenhouse. I would have to. I don't know why. Why would I? What's the purpose of a sunken greenhouse? Why don't you live in Oregon instead of Arizona? It seems like a harsher environment. Because the Californians destroyed my state, and they're about to destroy this state too. I mean, they've already started. Californians are a cancer on this planet. Not just this country, but this planet. Their politics and their way of life is so toxic because of the way that they've been indoctrinated, that anytime they have a mass migration to any state, they basically destroyed it. The 90s is when the Californians started moving in, but by the time 2002, 3, 4, 5 started rolling around, you had all the gangs that were in Oakland made its way into Portland. You had gangs that were in LA that were making their way up to Oakland and then up to Portland and Seattle. And so like the gangs are migrating with the money population. So all the business owners leave their businesses in California, come to Oregon, raise our standard of living, because Oregon's one of those states that really has never had a high employment. You better have a good work ethic, and you better be willing to work hard in Oregon, because ever since the spotted owl, our economy has never been able to recover. When they killed our foresting, and the foresting practices they do now are worse than what they used to do. But that's because the green nut jobs got a hold of it, and all that stuff resonates from California. And so when they come into your state, they are going to turn your politics into California. They are going to turn your economy into California. They're going to turn your cost of living into California. And so they're bringing the worst parts of California, the things that destroyed California, with them to destroy your state. They did it to Oregon, and they do it to every other state that they go into. If you see a Californian, run them out of your state. I know people think that I'm this and that and the other. No, Californians need to fix their own problem before taking the rest of the problem and infecting the whole United States. Because the thing is, when I kept trying to tell people 3 years ago, actually longer than 3 years ago, when COVID hit, okay, Skid Row moved from LA to Denver. Okay, Skid Row is, and a lot of these homeless and stuff like that, you'll see them, and I've been seeing them over my travels. So like, yeah, we had to leave LA. LA was crazy, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Go back to where you came from. We don't want you here. You're bringing your problems with you. And as somebody that has had to deal with the ramifications of California, I don't like Californians. I am not a fan of Californians. I think that Californians are a cancer on society. Um, even the conservative Californians, because they're not really conservative, they're just liberal light. Um, okay, they went from Cali in the first place. Um, well, I don't know. No, I don't want it. I can't stand Californians. I mean, who wants to have Nancy Pelosi's, what is it, nephew as their ruler? I mean, come on, that. I mean, Nancy Pelosi controls the whole fucking state. So, asking for Matthew Tuck, where did you get your trailer? Um, Facebook Marketplace. That was a, and if you need something towed and you live out here, I've got a guy that will do it for you, because quite frankly, yeah, because even him and I were talking yesterday. He's like, well, fuck, because I told him, I said the trailer costs $750, and the ride here costs almost $800. And it only took him like 15 miles. He's like, really? I said, yeah. He's like, damn, if I'd have known you. I said, well, we knew each other. We just didn't know each other that well yet. Because it takes a while to get to know people out here. And he's like, I would have come and done it for you. I said, I would have appreciated it, but yeah, no. We got it done, and it's all good in the hood. But yeah, I got my trailer off Facebook Marketplace. I had people that were sending me links saying, hey, check this one out, until finally I found one. So, okay, this one's affordable. And the person that sent it to me helped me actually talked them down from their original price. So, but it got taken away in the towing, because the budget was $1,500, and the towing ate up 60% of it. Let's see here. Okay, there's a serious problem. I don't like all the homeless here. Um, yeah, you know what? It's not their fault though. The way that the system is set up, you're not, if you try and make an honest living in LA, and this is why I hate LA. I mean, it was there. I won't step in LA for this main reason. Forget about all the other shit. Um, fuck, I forgot what I was going to talk about. I'll probably catch it here and say, oh, is that okay? The way that the system is set up is, when you come into town, you go to the GA office. They give you food stamps, and which is, you only get it for, I think, up to a year, and then after that you're cut off. So if you're homeless for a long term, you're probably not getting any benefits if you're in California. It's much harder to be homeless in California. But the thing is the way that they cut your feet out from under you, you can never get away from it either. So it becomes self-perpetuated, because they'll give you a SRO for 14 days. It's a once in a lifetime benefit. They'll give you $200 a month for 6 months, which is a once in a lifetime benefit. And if you go out and try and make money legitimately, or try and get your hustle on, no, you'll get ran off. You'll have the cops called on you, anything else like that. And so therefore you are forced into illegal activity because of the way that the system is set up. So to blame the homeless, it's not really the homeless. It's the homeless are stuck there because the way that the system harvests them and really cuts their feet out from under them. And so, oh, we need to fix it. We need to give them more shelters, more of this. Dude, it's not about shelters. There's no honest way to be able to make money. You cannot be homeless and make money legitimately. In the same way that in Georgia, some guy, got criminal charges brought against him because he handed a tomato over the fence to his neighbor. Now, with that being said, California is the same way. Teasing. Oops. Yeah. Teasing with you. Oh, okay. That there is an affordable housing. Okay. A recent survey found that 90% of homeless individuals in California were last housed in California, and 75% remained in the same county where they lost their housing. Yeah, that's because of the way the system is set up. You don't. Are your land costs like eight total? My land was like 8,000. is what I pay for it. Yeah. Kickback. I don't think it's really about enough business. It's about it's about there's so many regulations that you can't do anything because the gut. I think that California, if you listen to stories about China and then you get to experience California, I would rather be in China than California. So that's just my opinion. Um, okay. Ask AI. Google it. Citation needed. Okay, teasing. No worries. Okay. Okay, he's traveled to California now. Lots of folks are heading to Oklahoma. Yep. Um, yeah, and you better be Oklahoma. Honestly, Oklahoma has got some very dirty cops. My buddy has won a couple of lawsuits because of police brutality. And Yeah, it's interesting because he's autistic. So one of the first ones that happened to him, he went up to Oklahoma to go see his grandma. On the way back, he pulls off to the side of the road, closes his eyes. Cop comes, messes with him. Um, and taps him on the head with his billy club. My buddy, being autistic and yeah, just his skill set because he's autistic, he almost made it so that cop couldn't walk for the rest of his life. And yeah, he really fucked that cop up. And they still ended up having to pay him $300,000, and that was their whole budget. And he actually sat there and taunted the police as they were getting re-educated and retrained on how to be able to deal with people with mental health issues or disabilities. Because yeah, he's autistic, so he's a protected class, so he could do a lot of stuff, and they can't do shit to him. It's kind of funny. So, okay, so the South has the best politician and cops money can buy. You're, oh, dude, that is. Um, I don't think it's the South. I think yes, the South is like that. It's notorious for that. The first dirty cop I ever came across was on the Space Coast, and he was a county sheriff that told me to fuck the Constitution. Which I honestly, and he's like, I don't give a shit about the Constitution. I've heard stories like, yeah, you don't talk back to cops there. They will shoot you and then tell you it's your fault. And the way that the media slants it, and the way that the culture is that even though that cop was dirty, the community supports it because they're being told, well, you shouldn't have been being a criminal. Well, the guy wasn't a criminal. They made up the charges on him. Okay, I know this story of a guy. Okay. Two guys are in a car. One knows what it's like to be down south. The other one's from my home state of Oregon. Okay. The guy from so they get pulled over. The guy that knows what the South is, he's like quiet, keeping to himself because he understands that the cops are dirty. And so the guy from Oregon, from my home state, because we keep our cops in line, we hold our cops accountable, at least we used to. And so he starts holding the cop accountable. Well, what's your probable cause? What's your justification? Da da da. And the cop asks him, well, do you have any weapons? He says, yes, I have a weapon. And he declares his weapon, says he's got his registration and stuff like that. Cop says, well, you go ahead and get that out for me. So the guy goes to lean into the car to grab the glove, to grab it, the glove box. The sheriff shoots him in the back, paralyzing him from the waist down, and then says that he pulled a gun out on him, and so therefore that guy spent time in jail because of a dirty cop. So I wouldn't. The thing is down south, they're so good at the propaganda to sit there and say, "Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime," that the people actually believe it instead of realizing that most of your cops are dirty. They're on the take. And I mean, I've met some cops that were openly out that they were on the take to Aryan Nation. I was on the drug highway and didn't even know it. So yeah, Tuck figured it out. He did the hard work. I have to follow suit. Okay. Tuck found a nice, quiet, humble space for himself, and I kind of want in. I've been homeless for years now. I finally had a spot to. You know what, Matthew? Stephanie's going to be a good bet. I stick by her 100%. Like I said, it's not about the place; it's about the community. And if you find a good community, I'm a stoner. I'm in a stoner community. I'm happy. These are my people. I get along with all my neighbors, and we all like each other. We all, as I say hi, we communicate. One of my neighbors next week when I go into town, he's also a YouTuber. He has land. He showed me some stuff that he was doing. I'm like, dude, can we do an interview? I want to do a live stream with you. We can do a go live together so that we can send some people over to your channel. But this guy knows, like, he's figuring out how to use the land so that when the rain falls, it gets to everything. And this is something that I'm trying to think about. But this guy he's already mastered. He's been out here for quite a few years. A lot of people out here, the ones that you'll really like have been out here for at least 5 years or longer. Build a porch, wave to your neighbors. You, you know what? I might do that and invite my neighbors over and say, hey, come on over, smoke a bowl. Fucking all of a sudden, next thing you know, my driveway got 3 or 4 cars in it as we're sitting under like a gazebo, sitting around just having that would be cool. I would love to be able to have a community like that. Now, Clyde's coming, and if other people are coming, then, you guys are always invited to come over and say hi. At least send me a text before you come over so that I know, but I probably won't get it until you show up. But I mean, if you're a subscriber and, the rule is be a civilized human being. If you're not going to be a civilized human being, you're going to see my ugly side. And I still haven't shown my full ugly side here on YouTube. I won't, because yeah. But anyways, just if you're gonna interact with me, be respectful. That's all I say. Be respectful of me, my dog, my land, and my time, and I will be equally as respectful to you. That's all I expect from you guys. But you guys are invited to come say hi to me whenever you want. If you live around the area, come say hi to me. I love interacting with my subscribers. You guys are the reason why I do this. This is why I'm asking, hey, come invest, support me with what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but there's something cool that's going to be coming to aihomesteader.com. And Beth, you and Matthew were the ones that kind of inspired this, because you guys were both saying the same thing yesterday. Sounding more and more like the old Russia history teacher in my youth told our class the U.S. would become more like the USSR and the USA would become more like oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if I heard that, but I know that was hinted at in my youth in the 90s. And the thing, the problem is that we fail to hold our politicians accountable. Those of you that know that I follow Billy Meyer, okay, one of the things that Billy Meyer says is that in the future, and I think that future is now, I think Donald Trump is the spearhead for this, whether you like him or not. It's about representation for the people. It's about local representation. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them. But the thing is, we're not represented on a local level. We are represented on a corporate level. We have corporate oligarchs instead of political oligarchs. There's no difference between us and China. Our government's doing the same thing, but telling us we're free. Their government says, you're not free. At least their government's being honest with their people, because they can't do anything about it. Us, they still got to, until they can destroy the Constitution and completely destroy this country, which that's why we need to have movements of peace and not movements of aggression, because movements of peace will because that's the only thing that keeps them at bay. Okay. That is the only thing that keeps them at bay, is because you can still enforce your Bill of Rights. Now, all of these, right now, the government under the Trump administration, because he doesn't want to face public ridicule, has decided that no longer are employees allowed to talk about how they feel about their work job, their workspace, and everything else like that, because it's being politically motivated. And now they're trying to fight it. But technically, because my dad was in the Army when Clinton went through his scandal, Clinton put a gag order on all of the military, and because he's a commander-in-chief and he is their boss, they had to listen. So whenever my dad would be watching Fox News and the Clintons would come up, you would hear my old man he'd blow a gasket. Like, it's like, oh, well, there goes the Clintons again, because he hated Bill Clinton for what he did. But my dad's a Republican. He's a Reagan Republican. So, and because at least that side of the family were Democrats. My dad was the one that changed it. He switched to being a Republican because of Ronald Reagan. Okay. But yeah, the government has the right to do it, because when you're a government employee, as the Supreme Court says, the Bill of Rights is there to protect the citizens of the several states from the federal government, not federal citizens from the federal government. That's why it's so important that you stop calling yourself a U.S. citizen and you start calling yourself a citizen of the great state of whatever you're in. When I was in LA, I got picked up by the cops and I got to jail, and they're like, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" Nope. "Oh, well, you sound like you got good English." I said, "Thank you." And he says, "Well, what's your country of origin?" "Great state of Colorado, sir." They all started laughing. But the thing is because I did that way, it completely screwed up the whole court case because I'm not a U.S. citizen, but I'm recognizing that I'm a sovereign, that I'm a citizen of the state of Colorado, which, if you understand, the state and country are interchangeable. So we have 50 countries that came together under a union called the United States, or the United Countries, okay, for their common defense and the general welfare and for trade. Okay, so that they had one representative versus all the 50 representatives that we have. Okay, so that's that. Animal farm. All animal are equal, but some are more equal than others. Yeah, that sounds about right. After that, if you can survive on $5. Okay, Matthew. Hey, you'll want to watch my video on how I do laundry, and go over. It's a playlist. It's called Homestead Hacks. I'm building it with like all the little things that I do around here. Okay, your out-of-pocket expenses, some things that you want to think about. Now, here's my thought on this, and this is just me the way I think. Is if you're going to if you've got an annuity and stuff like that, maybe instead of using your $500 a month, um take a little bit of a cut in that and pay off your land so you own it outright, and you'll probably get a better cash price than if you finance it. Okay, therefore saving you money, giving you ownership of land. Plus you can create a trust to be able to put it in, to be able to protect it from other entities. Maybe put yourself as the beneficiary. And I don't know, there'd be some things, if you ever decide you want to do something like that, you and I can sit back and we can talk. Okay, but pay off the land, then all of a sudden all you have to worry about, water is $85 per 1,000 gallons. Okay, you got 4 of these totes, they're $180 a piece. One person, that'll probably last you 6 months. Okay, you could get away with one tote, but now here's the thing though. I know a guy that he has a garden, and with all the watering he does, he goes through probably about 2 to 3,000 gallons a month, just to be able to water all of his gardens and stuff like that. So you might be paying more if you want to be able to have all that stuff. But like I said, it's like $85 per 1,000. You're paying about $20 for a propane tank. That propane tank lasts me a month. Lasts me longer in warmer situations, lasts me about 3 weeks when it's cold, because I'm using my stove as a way to keep myself warm. Okay. But your overall expenses outside of your food and whatever vices you have, whether it be devil's lettuce or cigarettes or both or whatever, all of that stuff is going to all of that stuff is going to it's going to cost you, and you could easily live under $500 a month, especially if you're getting food stamps. If you're getting food stamps, you're going to want to order from Amazon. You're going to want to do the freeze dried thing, like what I do. That's going to be the most economical, because quite frankly, food stamps at these stores, the way that they got the markup, you're not going to last longer than maybe 2-3 weeks. What's up, DFH? Nice to see you, buddy. Okay, sadly. Okay. Don't tell people that they'll target you. Okay. And another. Okay, well, Tug, sounds like a good idea is for negotiations. I have 16K saved. Well, that's congratulations, Matthew. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree with who said that? Was that yeah, Matthew the King, I agree with you. Me, I don't care how much money you have, because I'm not interested in your money. I never have. That's why people start throwing money around, and I'm just like, as soon as they start going, well, I'll give you this, then I get excited, because I'm like, oh, cool, I get something. Money, money, money. Look how much money I have. Da, da, da. I don't care about how much money you have. I'm not one of those people. But there are a lot of people out there like that. And so, yeah, be very careful. Don't be open about your finances. You will get robbed. Or what will happen to you is what happened to me a lot of times when I was homeless, because I'd always come out with a couple $100. I knew it was coming. So I timed it around my last paycheck and always did it that way. So I always went out with a couple $100. Well, The first couple of times he meets somebody, he want to be your road dog, da da da. He finds out, oh, will you buy me a beer? Buy me a beer. Next thing you know, he sat there being lazy, not because you're his panhandle, you're his mark, and he'll take you for everything. And then once you run out of money, then he'll go back to panhandling and not even be your friend. I learned that one the hard way. God, I was in Houston when that happened. I think what I was like 22, so I was still young and naive. Mm. But yeah, be careful about telling people money, expect anywhere, because as people get desperate, they will start looking at you. I totally agree with you. Now, and that's why I don't ask specific questions and stuff like that. Let's see, morning tech. It's all locked up and it's in my. Um, well, I'm sure about that. Well, we're not worried about that. We're more worried about there are people that know how to get a hold of that stuff. You got to realize the harsher the dope. So the white dopers, they're going to be the biggest hustlers because they're jonesing and they want it and they will tell you and do anything and convince you, and they've gotten really good at it because that's how they support their habit. So while you think you're dealing with one person, you're not. Okay, so just be careful. um okay, so let's see here. um but all right, guys, I have got to get to work today. As soon as this wind passes, though, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here. We're gonna start chopping down some of these branches because I want to open this area up, because this was what I wanted to do. Is maybe I might be able to get an awning, but I'd have to personally attach it. But I'd like to have this area right here be my front porch, which gives me privacy from the rest of this area, so I can sit back, smoke my bowl, do whatever I want. Plus, I have the trees to block the wind. For me, it's about what I get, not what I have. I get to retire at 41, but I have to do it either way. A broken body. Yeah. Well, best of luck to you, Matthew. I mean, it works and all the other stuff. So I'm looking for a quiet spot I can focus on my hobbies. Well, what are your hobbies, Matthew? Um, but like there's lots of stuff for you. And if Stephanie ain't the situation for you, there's other people out there. I strongly stand behind her because she's I do business with her and I really like her. But it doesn't she if you want a different state than the other states that she has, just let her know. She'll refer you to one of the other investors that she knows, because she's always connecting and networking around the country so that she can bring better value to her clients. So if you guys want to see what Stephanie has, go on over to openairproperties.net and see what kind of properties. Tell her that Friar Tuck sent you, and all that good stuff. So let's see here. Good community here, safe to talk financials while planning. Yes, but I would prefer that if we're going to have this discussion, that it be over on Patreon during our monthly live stream. Okay, because that there, I know for sure I know for sure is safe, because only community members are there. Nobody's going to see it. See, once this video is done, or once I hit that in the recording, it's going to process the video and then it's going to put it out for the masses, so any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come by and see it. So by coming over to Patreon, it gives you privacy. It gives you the ability to speak how you really want. Yes, the last Saturday of every month, we do a Patreon live for digital homesteaders and for sovereign operators. The $5 membership, you're getting stuff, but you're not really getting to participate in the live stream. The live stream is for digital operators or digital homesteaders and sovereign operators. Okay. That's that thing there. But oh, speaking of, so Beth, I know you're over there, but I have a prompt that will give you the day's news. Now I have to keep going back in and saying, like, I want to talk about this topic, I don't want to talk about that topic. But if you just want a basic readout of the top 5 headlines for the day, how it affects you, with the Friar bot mentality, what I'm going to do is, normally it would be in a download, but it's just a copy and paste. So what I'm going to do is if you're in the digital homesteader or the sovereign operator, which you guys get your monthly digital download, when I'm going to put in there this month, and I'm going to put it in there here sometime today. So be sure to go over and check it out. It's the prompt that you'll need. You just copy and paste it into Grok or Chat GPT or any of the other ones that they have out there, and it will do a readout of the top five stories for the day. that affect homesteaders, preppers, and off-gridders. Okay, it's gritty, and it's going to be no fluff, straight to the point, no speculation, only verifiable facts. Because that was the outlines that I had to do. But it's probably a good, I don't know, 500 to 700 words long. It's a very long prompt, but it's very accurate. And it's helping me with the news, and I'm going to be playing around with it, and maybe modifying it to move it to how I really want it to work, and what I really want it to put out. But for the most part, um that, and I'm also, I don't think I want to put out the template, because I have a template that I upload with the prompt, and yeah, it turns it into, yeah, something really interesting. But if you guys want that, it's going to be over. You have to be a digital homesteader. I think it's very valuable, and it'll give you a deeper insight into the news. And so and the reason why I feel okay with doing it, like it's not going to take away from me, is because I still have my own experiences, my knowledges, my thought, and everything that I've done around this country and in this world. And so I have that to be able to fall back on as my knowledge. So you can have all this you want, but if you don't have my knowledge, my experience, and stuff like that, you won't be able to keep up with me. So it's not even, because some people are like, "Ooh, I'm going to take that. I'm going to go." Well, no, be my competition. If you want to start a news channel and use my prompt, go for it. I encourage you. We'll see how it works out. We'll become competitors. We'll probably even collaborate together. We'll be good friends, because we're on the same path. But we each have our own set of knowledge, which is what makes our information unique. Okay. So anyways, guys, please remind us of the cut and paste thing when time. No, I'm gonna put it today. uh I will, yeah, it'll be in a post on Patreon, and it'll have the instructions. I did. Do you remember the one that I put out last month, for to be able to help you figure out what type of job that you can do online, if you wanted to get into the digital economy? There's that prompt there, as well. And so that's the same thing, copy and paste. So but yeah, I'm curious. I don't Your hobbies sound good for desert. Okay, hard to find. I'm looking for them myself. Okay. Another thing to think about: there are some counties across the U.S. without building codes. There are some in Texas and Tennessee. Oh, I did not know that. Patreon. Okay. Oh, okay. Biking, my cat. Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Uh, Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, I all my posts are the things that I say that I'm going to do. So you get access to it based upon what tier you're in. But you also, Beth, and I encourage you and anybody else who's there, especially if you're new, you want to see my travels. You want to see the behind the scenes of my travels, because I started doing it in Chattanooga. And so if you want to understand what my life was like in Chattanooga, kind of everything that I did, because I did some behind the scenes, I did some other stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I did, that isn't even public here, either because I can or just because I didn't want to move it over. But if you sign up for Patreon, um, just know, like, the $10 tier, the digital homesteader has always been my flagship, because most people are going to go for that versus sovereign operator or digital watch or rebel watcher. But it is what it is. Come on over to Patreon. If you want to sponsor the channel, support the channel, and help me keep the lights on and avoid censorship, please come on over to Patreon and consider a membership. Thanks for being here, guys, and I will see you tonight during our evening news stream. So, how much weight did you lose? How much weight did I lose? When I started preparing for my journey, I was 320 pounds. By the time I left, like 3 months later, I was 287 pounds. And that was me going on a bike, riding 10 miles a day for like a couple of months. Okay. So that right there, yeah. So I left at like something around 287, 290, was what I weighed myself at. And by the time I got here, I was fitting in a size 32. I was about 160 pounds, 155, 160. Uh, Up until this point, the skinniest I've ever been in my life was 165 pounds, and I had 3% body fat at that time. I was in high school. Okay. I was an athlete, so that's why I was lean. But yeah, I lost, let's say, I lost more than 150 pounds, like 160 pounds. So I lost half my body weight being out here doing what I'm doing. So, yep. Yeah, and most of it was lost on bike. I lost 100 pounds of it on bike. The rest of it was lost on trail over time. Um, as I would, because the thing is bike uses so much more than walking, and walking you can kind of move slow. You can have some off days. You can do stuff like that. When you're on bike, it's not like that. So the bike basically, a bike ran me into the ground, and that really, like, that did me in. That was probably the hardest thing that I did, and I rode 45 pounds, or not 45 pounds. I rode 45 miles on a quarter cup of rice mixed with cream and mushroom soup. Okay. That was because when I first started, I thought that people would support me along in my journey and I wouldn't have to get food stamps. Well, I found out the hard way that nobody was going to support me along in my journey, and I had to get food stamps. And so I've been on food stamps ever since. Um, but yeah, when I first started out, part of the reason why I starved is because not only was there did I not have food stamps, but all the food banks in the rural areas, for the most part, they've all been shut down. Especially in Florida, they've all been shut down, whether it be because of the pandemic, because of food shortages, and all this other stuff that's going on. You guys in the house community, you don't realize how the food goes, because us in the homeless community, we were the ones that got to deal with the food scarcity. Um, because we're at the bottom of the barrel. We get the scraps, and even the houses are eating the scraps because there's no other food. So, um, no, the rice is really what did it. And by the time I got done riding out 45 miles, I still have plenty of energy at the end of the day. It was a weird thing. My best friend started telling me that, yeah, the samurais used to do what are called rice balls, and every couple of hours they would eat one. And yeah, because it rice is a superfood, especially if you are on the go. You want to include rice in your diet. I preferred fried rice over steamed rice. Um, and fried rice is going to be good for you anyways, better than steamed rice, because the lard will coat your nerve endings and kind of, keep neurological issues off away from you. But yeah, that's that. But all right, guys, I will see you tonight during tonight's put turmeric and to keep painful inflammation down. Yeah, if I was carrying it, but I wasn't at the time. I mean, I had oregano and salt, and that was pretty much it. All right, guys, I will see you tonight during tonight's live stream. Thanks for being here. Consider coming on over to Patreon for a membership.